Going live, going live. This your boy, Dr. Michael Opwan. It's been a while since we have been live, but man, I miss y'all, I miss y'all, I miss y'all. This is the moment for you to get that truth. This is the Nubian Truth Room, where we are talking the truths that you need to hear. And I'm telling you, it's been a while, but I miss y'all. You know that, right? And so today we're going to be talking about things that's going to get your mind right. We're also going to be doing Q&A. So if you got any questions and answers, things that you need to talk about, feel free to hop right on this live, and we're going to talk about that. Let's get it going. Let's get it vibing. You know what I'm saying? Let's get our boy on here. You know, we're going to have our live with our good brother, Sire Supreme, in this thing. So let's get it going. If you have anybody that needs to hear the truth, this is the truth. This is the room for them. This is the truth. This is the room for them. Make sure that you bring your truth here, because the truth is all that we speak. You see, the truth is the most important thing in this world. So many people are living dishonestly. So many people are living inauthentically, but this is your moment to live truthfully. I don't know who needs to hear this, but I know it's you out there, you see. Whether it's the truthfulness of your hair, the truthfulness of your voice, the truthfulness of your appearance, of your family. You got so much going for you that you just don't realize yet. And you have to put out the truth. Now, what does the truth stand for? What does the truth stand for? See, the NTR, right? The Nature Room. The Nature Room is the divinity and the place of the Most High. This is how you're going to access that space in you that you know needs to be tapped into, right? That space that needs to be tapped into. And how are you going to do that? Is by overcoming your fears. How are you going to overcome your fears? That fear that you may have, which is the fear of not being enough, right? That fear of not being enough, and that fear of not being, or fear of failure and fear of success, right? Those are two of the same fears, which is fear of not being enough. Let me bring my brother Sire Supreme on here, man, so we can keep the cook going. What's going on, good bro? Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, pop on in here, man. You know how the games go. Yes, sir. Good brother. Oh, my brother. Good to hear you. Good to see you, man.
Making sure I'm on. Am I on?
The video not yet.
What's going on?
Damn, what's going on, Brody? What's going on, man? It's been a while, man. I feel like I came off the mountaintop like Moses. You know what I'm saying? Had to come back for my people. What's going on, King?
What's going on, bro? How you?
I'm good, man. Good, man. You know, we missed this. We missed the TikTok family. You know, today we came back. We always come back with new projects, new ideas that we're gonna develop this time, take it next level. This one is the Nubian Truth Room, and that's what they've entered, the sacred room, where we're gonna tell the truth, whether it's the truth and nothing but the truth. You know what I'm talking about? And so what we're gonna do in particular is truth from this week, from the strong, because again, we don't do nothing weak around here, right? And truths that you may have heard in news that you want to tell the people about. And then we're also going to just do our general mindset mastery, because it don't matter what we teach them if their mind's not right. You feel me? So that's what we're going to be doing throughout. So I wanted to first introduce yourself, Brody. Tell the people, about the books that you got going and anything that you have in mind right now.
Oh, what's going on? Shout out to the TikTok fan. I got the original book I got is Avoid Mom's Plight. Actually, I got to bring the site back up tonight. Because I was trying to use another platform, but so that's the book I started with. That's the book that was doing well. It's been doing well, so I appreciate everybody. And then I got the mentorship program coming soon. I'm working on a mentorship program where y'all can send y'all teams to me, and we could do the mentorship with them. And then I'll be doing another ebook over the next 2 weeks or so. I'll be writing another ebook. This is 101 Dating for Women ebook. So I got that coming too. So I got some things I'm working on, trying to fit into the schedule, bro. So I appreciate you.
Right there. Amen, bro. Amen, bro. I love the visionary, man. You're always part of the team. Anything we got going, we'll make sure you're on there with it, man. You know what I mean? And so we're gonna start from the top right now. What's the truth that you learned from this week, from this strong, that you want to share with the people, if you don't mind me asking?
A truth I learned from, I'm sorry, from where?
from life, because life is always the best teacher.
Oh man, that understanding that life is about, most people have to understand this, right? There's no losses, it's only lessons. I had to learn that there's only lessons. Everything is a lesson. It's no
Yeah.
failures. It's just pure lessons, and that your entire life is about adapting. Only those who have the ability to adapt and pivot will survive in this world. You have to be able to adapt. Adaptability is, um, is part of your natural state. Understanding self-preservation. For people that don't understand self-preservation, it's the ability for you to prevent your own annihilation. You are supposed to prevent your own annihilation in this world. And we are not the fastest, we are not the strongest on the planet. The thing that is allowing us to be on top of the food chain is our intellect. Our intellect keeps us at the top of the food chain. So if you're not intellectually evolving, you are going to fail. You are going to fail as a species on this planet. You're supposed to be constantly evolving as far as your intellect goes.
Man, bro, appreciate you, man. And talking about adaptability, you always know the young one always keeping us adaptable, man. That's amazing. What's going on, Sister Angie?
Hi, how are you doing? How you doing? Thank you for having me up.
Amen, amen. I
Is
appreciate
there
you for joining. We always love to hear from the divine feminine. And if you would love to
yeah.
add to that, we starting off with that Nubian truth. So what's the truth that you learned from this strong? Because again, we don't do nothing weak around here. What's something that you learned from this strong that you want to share with the people, if you don't mind me asking?
You said from what? What I learned
A
from what?
truth, just a truth that impacted you this strong.
Um Basically that we are okay, so basically what I want to say is that we're too attached to convenience, and that is what's killing us. Not having really any survival skills and putting value into them. Instead, investing in things that continue to captivate us or hurt us, like alcohol, sugar, things, products that weaken us instead of strengthen us. So if there's any fight, it's like we're not ready for it. That is very strong on my mind. But I just one of the things is that I just got off one of these sites that where the FBAs are arguing with the Africans. And it's sad when everyone starts calling each other names and argue about who has the better master. Basically, we're going by we're
Talk
going
that
by
talk.
these like exonyms. We're going by names that are not even ours. The countries, the borderlines, these things, red lining. They're not our boundaries, and we keep we're fighting within those boundaries. When they say rat race, that's exactly what we're doing. It's just experiment. Every single thing is experimental, and although we don't mean to or don't want to be compliant, we're very compliant as far as staying within the boundaries of the rat race, the maze that we're taught that confines us, which is now we're learning is not true. Like, what are actually our limits? When they say depopulation, they're not talking about anyone else but our people, but the indigenous people of the universe. But once we start with these names, and the problem with that, though, I see, is that it's important to let people fight their choose their battles, and once they can take care of themselves personally, then they can join and help with people that live on the outside, like foreigners or whatever it is. And that's where I am. A lot of times I get misunderstood because they think I'm not proud of African. Get out, that's crazy. But the thing is 52 countries in Africa, and when just saying that you're African is not enough, you have to know where you're from. A
Yeah.
northern country and a southern country, they barely know each other in Africa. You know what I mean? The western and the eastern, they barely know each other as far as tribes might go or nations might go within. and there's a lot of fighting amongst those countries and competition pertaining to the European powers, or who's sponsoring them to do whatever. You know, I'm seeing Congolese on commercials saying, you know, they're fighting, or they're supporting ISRAIL, right?
Mm.
And
Got that
it's
talk.
just because they're being supported, they're being sponsored, and that's it's like your masters type thing, you know. And then it's I just want to see the unity, but it's really all about equity, you know. It's really all about we did something and we deserve what we put in. And yeah, that's and the last thing that's heavy on my mind is as far as independence go, you know, many of our lands are not independent as we thought. You know, I have a West Indian background, Jamaica, Guyanese, and because we're still dealing with some prime ministers and, you know, ministers of this and that, we're still dealing with the British system and the European system.
Facts.
And when people try to when people begin to understand that it's not serving them, and that they're just a number, not an I, you know, they're just a number, not an I, then
Mm, that's
this
good.
is a big problem. People really have to understand about national status, what that means, sovereignty, what that means, and they have to start reading the law, teaching their children the law, and that's it.
Man, listen. So let me drop that mic for you, man. You came in here rocking it, man. That's amazing. That's
Thank you.
amazing. And I got a lot to unpack right there. A lot to unpack right there. First I just want to say kudos to you for being truthful. You set the tone. The Most High has been empowering me to connect with more Nubians. To your point of what you just mentioned. Even to delineate ourselves better. Whether it's Nubian African, Nubian Nigerian, Nubian West Indian, Nubian in general, right? But it all's coming back to Nubia in particular. That's very one way that we can eliminate these borders. So this is key. Uh, before, because from what you just mentioned, what made you mention that, or what made you have that particular truth, especially as it relates to the borders, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm scrolling, and I always, get hit with the people arguing on their lives, and I'm like, it's such a distraction. It's really, just wasting time. They're being incentivized to do that, or else their sites won't even be working. You understand? The ones that are really telling the truth really get blocked from all of these media sites. So the
Mm,
ones that are allowed to play through like that, we should be wary about them.
mm.
People are like, if we talk, we're gonna be labeled terrorists because we're speaking power into our people. But
Yeah.
then we also have to. I just saw something about with young Pharaoh, an old video about with young Pharaoh on it. We know that he was very outspoken, and he's very correct in a lot of things that he spoke about, and he was discussing like albino Nubians, albino Negroids, and albino Dravidians. They're not the same, right? They're not the same phenotype. We'll say we're not. They're not the same phenotype. They're both dark skinned, like us. They're both dark skinned, but they're not the same. One is from the Caucasus Mountains, and one group is from, I guess, mainly the African continent, and now we know the American continent also.
That's true.
But the Dravidians are not the same as Negro. It's totally it's a different phenotype. They have the Mongoloids, the Dravidians, Caucasoids, and what else? There's four of them: Negroids, Mongoloids, Dravidians, and Caucasoids. Yes,
You
yes,
talking
that's
that
four.
truth. You talking that truth, man. No, that's no, no, you hit it on the head. That's it's funny. I just started rocking my fro out. It's this non-ether right here that makes us a little bit different. You know what I mean? So you just
Uh
hit it
huh.
definitely on the head. We the only people who have hair. All the other races got fur. You know what I'm talking about? So
Yeah,
that's definitely you hit it on the head with that one. But the Supreme
yeah.
thoughts on what our sister just shared.
It's a lot to unpack, but the rabbit hole is very, very deep, man. This is a level, this is a conversation on levels where people can't understand. So one part of this is understanding that people have to understand there's not just an elite, there is an international elite. And that international elite is it pertains to the black aristocrats. So our people are within the elite. They are part of helping with the oppression and the destruction of and the war on sovereignty. Just because they look like us doesn't mean they're with us. They're part of an international elite. This is not just a European game. This is a game of the half and half nots.
Come on, brother. Good versus evil.
So the rabbit hole gets really deep.
That talk, bro.
And what we have to understand is, even as the rabbit hole goes deeper, it's not the elite that is keeping the system in place. It is the people who are depending on the system that is your greatest enemy. The people that are depending on this system to stay together. And they told you that in the Matrix, whether they be lawyers, whether they be doctors or politicians, there are people who are inadvertently a part of the system who are now a weapon of the system. So let me explain to you what that means.
That talk, man.
Inadvertently, people are joining the enemy without knowing they are part of the system. So you got a brother, you got a sister, you got a cousin. They're a judge, they're a lawyer, they're a politician, they're a Republican, they're a senator. They are part of the system, the very system that you are fighting. They are inadvertently a part of the very system you're trying to fight. So
true, bro.
That's not going to work. You can't unite with people who are within the system that don't know that they are a weapon of the system. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
You might have an uncle that's a judge
That
who
talk,
may
man.
not be doing anything negative. So let me clarify this. You may have a uncle that's a judge who may not be doing anything negative. However, he is still a weapon of the system.
Come on, yeah.
Am I making sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's why I said the rabbit hole gets deep. Then we have leaders, prime ministers in nations around the world. They're not with us. These people are part of secret societies. They're part of international elite societies. Because we forget that there is the European elite, and then we forget that there is a black elite in the middle. The black aristocrat is part of the system. And one thing about rich people, we don't understand the game. And my bro said it earlier. He did a post earlier. The name of the game is nepotism.
Come on, bro.
And the black nations don't understand how to play the game of nepotism.
Yeah.
The black community has not yet learned the game of nepotism. Now, for people that don't understand nepotism is when you favor friends, family, and relatives above all.
Come on,
They
yeah.
understand that. And let me give you an example, and I'll let somebody else take the mic because this can go on a long conversation. I'll let
Cooking, cuz. I think you left the gas on.
So, Barbara Bush has a husband that was president. Then she had a son that became president. Then she had another son who was governor. That's called a dynasty. The entire Bush bloodline ran the nation.
This is true.
It doesn't matter if the president is an idiot. It doesn't matter if Trump is an idiot. It doesn't matter. The name of the game is leverage.
Come on, bro.
If I own a company, I don't give a damn if my son don't know what the hell going on. I'm gonna make him the supervisor.
Come on, brother.
I don't care if my mother don't know how to run the company. I'm gonna make her the general manager.
Talk that
You
talk.
understand? So the
Facts.
country laughed at George Bush and they laughing at Trump now. However, the name of the game is we are going to employ our own bloodline.
Amen.
You understand? But I rest
Amen,
it.
bro. Let me drop that mic for you too, man. Listen, that's the name of the game, man. You know what I'm saying? That's why I had to bring my brother Master Payne on. 3K. What's going on, brother Master Payne? You might hit the little mic button. Oh yeah. See, we talk about that truth. You hit him with that truth. You hit him with that truth, man. Now, and so really, I got a question for you, brother Sire. You know what I mean? Really to your truth that you mentioned earlier. You know what I mean? Same question I asked our sister. You know what? If you don't mind me asking, what happened to you that made you think about that truth, or even make that truth so relevant? If you don't mind me asking.
I had to observe the world. Really had to observe the world in depth and try to understand why nothing isn't changing, why nothing's changing, why I had to understand why the black community is not evolving, why life is not evolving, what is causing the devolving of life. Why is it that this 1%, 2% of people have so much leverage? What is causing them to get so much leverage? And I had to understand that it wasn't really them. It was the people depending on the system that's defending the system. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People that depend on welfare is going to defend the system. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
People that depend on a 9 to 5, they depend on a 9 to 5. They are going to defend the system. But I ask you, what is the most important piece on the chessboard? People said the queen. I said no. People said the king. I said no. I said the board. The game.
The board,
If
baby.
you stop playing the game, it's over. Everybody on the chessboard is still a pawn in the game.
Come on, brother.
The pawn is a pawn. The queen is a pawn. The king is a pawn because they still are playing the game. So if you go to another country, the prime minister is still a pawn. The king in that country is still a pawn. Everybody's playing the game. Once we stop playing the game, it's over for them.
That's good. That's probably why they have board of directors running these companies. You know, it's lining up. It's lining up. It's lining up.
They need us to care. They need us to vote. They need us to pay attention to their politics, to the things they're doing. Once we stop caring and we unplug the game and stop participating, what do you think happened with Black Wall Street? Black Wall Street was an example of we can't be in y'all game, so we're going to go play our own game.
Straight up.
Was it not? Black Wall Street said, okay, we can't go to y'all basketball games. We can't buy from y'all grocery stores. We can't play y'all game. So guess what? We're going to build Tulsa, Oklahoma up. We're going to build Florida up. We had like 6 Black Wall Streets, and we're going to play our own game.
Yes, sir.
You never seen a child that go in the corner and go play their own game because the other kids won't let him play?
Yeah.
And then the other kids start looking like, hold up, what they doing over there?
Yeah.
Right? That's what they did. That's what they did. It was like, hold up. What y'all doing over there in Tulsa? Because now we're interested in playing y'all game now.
Yeah.
But instead of playing their game, they say, nah, we're going to destroy y'all game.
Come on, bro. Haters.
Right?
Folks, man, that's deep, man. That's deep, man. To your point of even Tulsa, Oklahoma, you know, some research I did this strong, you know, got me on my Indian wave or Native American or indigenous people wave. You know, the Chickasaws and the Choctaw, you know, were a big warrior group, in particular the Chickasaw, you know, that actually ended up in Oklahoma. And so definitely
the whole Gullah Geechee.
The Seminoles in particular.
The Seminoles, the Africans, the Caribbeans, they came together, they formed an army. They went from plantation to plantation, burning it down.
Come on, brother.
Lincoln had to let them go. He had no choice.
Yeah.
To let them go because they were going from plantation to plantation, burning it down. Matter of fact, the United States Army lost 3 wars to the Gullah Indians.
Come on, brother. Gullah Wars.
There was 3 Gullah wars. They lost all 3 of them.
Yeah.
and then recruited the Gullah Indians to fight for them.
Come on.
You understand what I'm saying?
It's wartime, man, in real time, and no cap. So definitely to your point of that too, man. Gullah Gullah Island, so they control our narratives through these shows in a lot of ways, and that's
Oh
what
yeah.
I'm saying is the importance of us retaking our media. So that's definitely why we popped out with this one is just having more spaces for our people to talk that truth. You know what I mean? And so that was big, man. That's definitely. I love how y'all thinking already. Y'all about to be full time correspondents for this media group, man. So I appreciate y'all already coming through and educating the people. Kind of now, kind of switching gears to because there was a third truth that you shared, sister. Could you share that third truth that you shared?
About what? About which one? About the phenotypes
Yeah,
and
I think it was about actually.
the,
What was the
the
first one? What was the first one that you shared?
as far as with with the fight between the FBAs and the
Yeah,
Africans.
yeah, 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 yeah. Talk to me more about
Oh,
that. What
I feel
inspired that? If you don't mind us asking.
so I would, if most FBAs would call me a tether, right? They would say I'm a tether. I'm not trying to be an FBA. I know what my background is. I know what my genealogy is, but I'm here via my West Indian or Jamaican Guyanese parentage, via Scotland, Ireland, and Ghana
Yeah,
as an American colony, Nigeria as an American colony, right?
yeah.
Because if I ask older Jamaicans, they'll say, well, my roots are Nigerian, but Nigerian is an American colony because there was no such thing as Nigeria. You
Come on,
understand?
bro.
So they're
Come
not
on,
even
sis.
going back far enough. They're not going back. They're going right to the American
Wow,
cuts. They don't really. A lot of them don't realize that they were from America, because when we do our DNA, I had people contact me. One of the run
that's
people
true.
that run DNA, and one of the ministers, one of the Jesuits, emailed me and said I'm related to his grandmother, she was mixed, but I'm closely related. I have a large amount of match with his great grandmother, and he wanted to understand how and wanted to know my family tree. Of course, I didn't know, so I never sent it. But that was ancestry.com. So at the time, the Russians were angry because they reported that the same people I just mentioned, the JES, that they were trying to claim the DEAD as their saints. You understand? So they're trying to validate their bloodline that were invaders, but bloodlines. The British and the European bloodlines.
Oh, that's so fact. It's no accident. I came from Nigeria. My family born in Nigeria. So you hitting it on the head. I always tell people, and I'll be my wife on this call too. She already know she got Nigerian blood in her. You know what I'm saying? Through your boy as well now. And so something I also always tell them is my dad was born 1957, but the country of Nigeria was established 1960. you know. So to
Mhm.
the point of what you just said, they're not even going back far enough,
Right.
whether they
They're
talking about.
very new with these countries in Africa because they're either American exonyms or
Mm,
British exonyms or French exonyms.
mm,
And then if you're talking about the French exonym, now you even have to go back further because it's the Creole that started the French.
mm.
That taught the Gauls the language, and then when the Gauls spoke the language, they called it French. Then those French mixed with the wild people in in the cave, mixed with the
The
wild
cave
people
people.
came, and they
Yeah.
and they
The
just
Goyim.
came with destruction. The nomads, the nomads that mixed in with the who we call North Africans.
Nah, you
So
hitting it on the head, man. Fela Kuti, he has a song. He's a beast of no nation. And in that song, he says like, "How can beasts give us human rights?" You see, how
I
can how
love
can how can the human beast give us human rights? So you hitting it on the head right there, man. That's big. We're here to free our people from these borders. You know what I mean?
yeah,
They say in a lot of African languages, passport doesn't exist in a lot of the languages. And to the point,
right,
it's more cultural. It's a more cultural background. So in Nigeria, more specifically, or at least what they call current day Nigeria, it's the Nri. The Nri is where it dates really far back, but in truth, it even span as far as even the Mali. or even
Mm-hmm.
the Mandinka, or even the really the Igbo too, even the Fulani, the Hausa, you know. So the cultural roots
Igbo.
are that you see today are more what really was real, you know, and it
Right.
makes sense because we usually it's because ultimately, you know, cultures fertilize cultures. You know, we always believed in living amongst or being around other cultures different from ourselves. You know, so we never
Mm-hmm.
you never needed to draw borders because your borders were where your people lived. You know, you never needed to say I need to take this area because if nobody was over there, we shared the land. We always are came in the spirit of sharing, and so we're now dealing with people who are fragile. You know, they call it what's
Mm-hmm.
it, white fragility. You know, and so because
Mm-hmm.
they're fragile in their mindset, they definitely get fearful of sharing
The
the
chick,
land
yeah,
and being able
chickens,
to
chickens come
share their
home to
area.
roost. Chickens come home to roost. You know what? I had a friend that he raises. He would raise like animals, pit bulls, a lot of pit bulls, and this is another thing with the whole experimentation thing, what they do with animals and things like that, with chickens or things that they fight, like the cocks and things. Um, well, one there's times like if you feed the animal wrong, right, the wrong food like pepper, right, and you make the animal more aggressive or violent, right? Then they're the ones that they would fight. Okay, so they
Mm,
will breed them in a certain way and make them that way so they can fight, right? And
mm,
so the same animal, I remember he brought he brought back one of his fighting dogs to live with him, and the fighting dog's mother lived in his home. So when he brought him back, what happened was, oh, I should say they were outside. They were in their pen, but the fighter broke out and he got into the mother's pen, and he mauled her. Like, he didn't mean to, but he mauled her because the wildness, right? The wildness, that the abuse that he went through with the fighting, it's like he's a puppy that wants to nurse. So
mm.
it ended up going very far. He didn't
Wow,
survive through it. Put it that way, because
wow.
this dog looked like Cujo. Let me tell you, the way he looked like Cujo. I don't know if you ever saw
Real
Cujo.
beast,
Is an
bro.
old scary movie that the
Yeah,
dog that
yeah.
got, yeah.
Alfalfa.
He looked like real. He was scarred up, torn up. He was scary. He would jump over the fences. He was literally a monster. And that's I think that's what happens, because I think you ever see what's his name, Voodoo Chief, on TikTok. Voodoo Chief explains it a lot, like the old Creole, or who we say Haitian today, or the old Creole before those names were even given. They did a lot of experimentations, just
Mm,
like in the Hindustan, where East India is now, or even in Antarctic. They did a lot of testings and experimentations, and sent people back in to repopulate the world whenever they decide to depopulate it. And when they do that, they're causing this disease, that because these people are bred like pariah.
come on, bro.
And it's like they don't know, because they're brainwashed from the time they're in the womb. They're brainwashed, and they don't know. It's not saying that they don't have no love in their heart, but their nature has been already set just by the food that they're eating, and that's what they try to do with us
Hold
in
on.
the where we live. By providing us, or having the stores around us that provide certain foods that definitely don't don't do well don't fare us well, and
Man,
block the sun, or whatever they want to do to take
talking
away
that truck,
vitamin
man.
D, blah blah blah. They're trying to have us turn against each other. And the thing is, because we've been living this so long, it's very difficult. It's very hard to do that. And that's why they're trying to, again, group people by blood type, group people, and look for those lost tribes.
Man, man, man. Listen, let me drop that mic again, man. You over there cooking. Did you leave the gas stove on? You know what I'm talking about? You might have that electric one, man. And listen,
You're funny.
that's the spirit I definitely wanted for this one. You know, as we popped out in, man, because
Thank
you're talking
you.
that truth right there. It's like, man, if we really knew how different we were as a people, we would
Mm-hmm.
respect ourselves so much more. You know, we to your point of that. You know, there are some mankind who are kind of like men. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They're still
Exactly.
born. A lot of them are still being born with tails. You feel me?
I just wrote that today, mankind. I put man with kind in parentheses because that's all it is, and it's kind of, and it's really a short period of time, and people think it's so much time, and they lie with us. They lie and say millions of years and thousands of, but it would be just a couple of centuries ago that this happened.
Mm.
You know?
Yes, 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 yes. And you, your hair takes millions of years to king. In truth,
Oh
so
yeah, I
when we
can.
saying
Yeah.
millions, we just
Oh.
talking about our people. But nah, like
Mm,
you know, these are your recessive cousins. You know what I'm talking about?
right.
Straight up, if you want to go scientific, these are just your recessive
Yeah.
cousins. So, you know, they do come from the tribe somewhere. You know what I mean? But ultimately, it's like it's really, 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 really far removed. You know what I'm talking about?
Deficiency. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, it's that's so deep, man. That's so deep. But Supreme, what you get your thoughts on that, King?
Um, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah. Geez, yeah. Wow, it's a lot of information that was said. So I've been saying for a long time, um, DNA testing is fake. It's all fake. You know, that's just a matter of them trying to find out, collecting our blood. But you cannot find out who you are through DNA testing. They'll tell you 3% European, 80% African, something like that. You know, genealogy. You have to go through genealogy to
Yeah.
find out who you are. DNA testing will not tell you anything. They will never tell you who you are. You got to be. I tell people all the time, you got to be crazy if you think these people work this hard to steal your sovereignty to turn around and tell you who you are.
Mm,
So none of the nationalities are real. None of them. Nobody's Jamaican. Nobody's Puerto Rican. Nobody's Dominican. All these all these lands have been reclassified, renamed. You know, nationality itself is not a real thing. We all come from tribes, and most of these tribes name themselves by the language and the body of water. But we all come from tribes, and these tribes have been broken up and have been reclassified so many times. The greatest lie they have told the people was that these Native Americans and these Incas and these Mayans are extinct. No, they're not. You know where they are? They're living in projects all across America.
us guys, the
They're living
Olmecs.
right here. They're living right here in the United States. These Olmec bloodlines, these Native American bloodlines,
Get it, bro.
these
Talk that talk,
Mayans,
bro.
and these Incas and these people, their children are still here. They're still alive. These descendants are still here. The bloodline is still around, but they've been reclassified as Negroes. They've been reclassified as Brazilians and reclassified as all these different names. You understand? That they have now become emotionally attached to.
Mm.
You understand?
Yes,
So they
sir.
have emotionally attached these people to these names. I mean, you walk down the street today and you see somebody walking down the street and say, "Hey, where you from?" You gonna say, "I'm from Brooklyn, New York." You gonna say, "I'm from South Carolina."
Mm-hmm.
He's not
Mm.
gonna say I'm Seminole. He's not gonna say I'm Wichita,
Mm.
Lenape, Delaware. He's not gonna say that.
Ooh, what they know
He's
about
gonna
the Lenape?
you know he's not
Yeah.
gonna the Wichita Nation is has received an award a couple of years ago for the oldest people on the planet, the Wichita Indians.
Mm.
You know, but they're not gonna say that they are these things. So they these people are great at social engineering. They know
Mm.
how these new sovereign titles they have not give these people, right? These Puerto Ricans or Tainos
Mm.
invaded by Spain, reclassified, renamed.
Mm.
The island was renamed Puerto Rico. Now these people have become emotionally attached to being Puerto Rican.
Exactly.
You can't break them away from that. Do you
True.
understand when I said in the beginning that the people are a worse enemy than the elite?
Come on, brother.
Do you understand what I mean when I say that? That the people are going to defend
Yeah.
South Carolina, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Australian. They're going to defend these titles. They're
Right, brother.
emotionally attached to them. So to get people back into their sovereign state, it's a deep awakening, bro. It's a deep awakening to have. But the fight is on sovereignty. This war is about sovereignty and making sure that you do not figure out who your people are. And people say, well, somebody would say, well, why is that dangerous? Because
Mm.
knowing who you are creates self autonomy.
Hmm.
You understand? Knowing who you are creates solidarity. It creates social cohesion. If the people find out who they are, you will have a revolution on your hands.
Amen.
You
Yeah.
understand? Because
Yes, sir.
they learned that. They learned that from slaves in the Haitian Revolution.
Right.
Do you understand? Okay,
Yes,
once you
sir.
find out who you are, right, you are going to denounce the God of your oppressor.
Straight up.
Once you denounce someone else's God, they have lost power over you.
Mm.
And that's what they did during the Haitian Revolution. When Boukman Dutty told them, give them back their God.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you had a bunch of slaves defeat a whole French army.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
understand how powerful the Haitian Revolution was? These were slaves that defeated an entire French army.
Yeah.
That's
Surrounded.
how powerful self autonomy are when the people know who they are.
Yeah.
Man. I shade, bro. Talking that talk, man. This is facts.
Yeah.
Man, this is the truth room, man. Make sure y'all drop y'all truths in the chat, in the comments. We're also gonna review those as well. If you got a truth that you want to share, this is your moment to talk that truth and be in the righteous nature that you know you are justly supposed to be in. We got our two co-sponsors over here. They talking that truth themselves. They popped it off as just being honest, and that's exactly all you need to be. You know, and really authentic to take yourself to the next level. So whoever's out there, make sure that you're being authentic with your truth, just like these co-sponsors have been. You know, definitely very powerful, man. Just the level of information y'all both have shared. So I appreciate y'all in advance for really just popping out with that. I've already just learned from just listening to y'all, man. So definitely appreciate y'all. Let's get deeper on these truths, man. You know, now share another truth. You know, Sister Angie. You know, because I think I definitely like
So,
the direction you're taking this. From
right.
everything, but
Sorry, I wanna piggyback on what Sarah Supreme said about the DNA test because I remember when I was working in the hospital and they started it, and I was like, "Oh, I want to do that so I can find, everything to connect with my relatives." Very hard to get history from my Jamaican relatives, especially. Right? But so what I learned was so the DNA they can't it's against the law. We're gonna put everything in quotes. It's against the law to change the data itself, right? But the labels, the tags and the names that they put on the data, when they put them into the columns and they put them into Excel spreadsheets and things like that to divide it, they can make up and they could make it any name that they want to. You understand?
mm,
So they can say, like he said, they're using these exonyms and saying this is that nation, this is that, this is what that is
uh,
going to be, this is what this is going to be, this is what that's going to be. And if they're saying you're Nigerian, it's the same thing that we were talking about before. Can't is you're not going. It's not going far enough. It's only going up to colonization.
mm,
So it's even though yes, we'll connect with some relatives. 'Cause remember the J's, the JESUITs, they have all of the archival records of our birth certificate. They got our footprints, they got the little pricks that they took when we were born. They already
mm.
have our DNA. You know what I mean? They
Facts.
have it. When we go to the hospital and they gotta collect blood to check what things you have in your they have that DNA. But
Mm.
so it's the filters that they put on it that people, like you said, are they romanticize and they adhere to it. The only truths that I got out of that, out of the DNA testing regarded the European lineage, because those tests were not made for us. Those tests were made for the Europeans to give them, to further give them more license to invade us in another way, right?
Come on, come on.
It's just like
That's
to wear
facts.
our skin. And you know they've been doing that for, that's from the time they were born. They were doing that because
That's
that's how
crazy.
they protected themselves up in Europe. They had to literally wear our skin.
That's crazy,
You
man.
understand?
Sunscreen they call it
And it
now.
wasn't too long ago, wasn't too long ago, and they're still doing it now with the permission of certain families
Mm.
to use our skin as leather, because they said, they like to say that it has the best qualities. It's butter, it's like the best quality
Deep,
leather.
man.
So this used to be done without us knowing. So a lot of those like down south in the old houses like Pennsylvania, you'll see furniture covered with our skin. You'll see
Wow.
furniture stuffed with our hair, our nine ether. You'll see furniture stuffed with our hair. So, and that is very valuable to them because it's like being that hybrid. It's like being that mutt that wants its mom, that wants its mother, and doesn't have. It's like something in their heart, and it's like they're always gonna seek us, no matter where we go. If they push us out of, they put us in Timbuktu, whatever, they'll go there. They'll follow us there.
Come on, Joe. Looking good,
It's
kid.
like it's not gonna
Thank you,
ever
sir.
be until we really get it together and let go of the romantic titles and the romantic PORN SLAVE, or without the PORN. We romanticize it
Mm.
for some reason. We romanticize it because we were brainwashed.
Yes, yep.
Yes, we went through that, but they did
Wow.
lie a lot about it, and even, I mean, Alex Haley, beautiful writing that got us, they hired those writers, the Boulay writers. They hired them
Wow, yeah.
because they didn't know how to write. They had a talent, they got paid for it, and they had to embellish just like a soap opera embellishes, you ever see a grandparent, they're stuck on the TV with the soap operas. Same thing with the
Grandparents with the
same
soap
thing with the
operas. That's a fact.
yeah, same thing with slave the Slav porn. Same thing with that.
Ooh.
They're addicted to you're addicted to it. It's all adrenaline. It's all dopamine and adrenal CHROME. It's all of that.
Man, man,
Yeah. It
that's some
does. It
truth
is
right
the
there.
fountain of youth. Yeah. It is the fountain of youth, literally. And so they'll keep doing that because it keeps them alive.
Wow. Man, man.
Yeah.
That's what we talk about when we're talking about the Nubian Truth Room. That's one of those that might have hit the Hall of Fame right there, because that made me think about that real talk. That made me think about that movie, The Hills Have Eyes. You know,
Yes.
Leatherface for real. Literally
That
is what he
was
called
scary.
himself. Yeah,
Yes.
it's like that, and that's also why they give us these horror movies to try to be honest about what they've done to us in the past, and at the same time make it entertainment. You
Get you
know,
addicted to fear.
talk to
Yes.
him,
They
bro.
want you to they want you to get addicted to fear. So when you watch horror movies, you get addicted to fear. That's what they want. It
Mm,
becomes part of your psyche, and so you start to actually live in a fear psyche, and it's not just it's just not everything. You're to have that self confidence, to have that power. They strip you of it by giving you horror films. Your
mm.
mind starts to live in fear. Everything. You fear everything. You fear greatness. You fear yourself. You fear the way you look. It's getting addicted to fear itself.
That's good, bro.
And the other part is because they understand the subconscious mind.
It cannot turn off what it sees and it hears. It does not know the difference between a negative and a positive thought. It doesn't know the difference.
Mm.
The subconscious mind is loyal. It must obey. It cannot go the other way. It must obey everything that it sees and it hears.
Mm.
So if your mind says fear, 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 if the cells pick it up, the cells respond, the subconscious responds, the entire body responds to that fear.
That's so good, bro.
But the other thing she said was, yeah, people like Alex Haley and people that's writing these slave movies, they know we didn't come on ships, but they are part
Come
of
on, brother.
they are part of this boule secret society, and they have to push the narratives that we are from somewhere else. And I'll tell you this.
Come on, brother.
This is the very tricky part, dangerous part. People don't understand. You have to be aware of the Pan Africanness.
Come on,
The
brother.
Pan Africanness is trying to get you off the land.
Come on, brother.
People like Dr. Umar that are telling you that you need to go, Marcus
About
Garvey,
that,
they're
bro.
telling you you need to go back to Africa. They're running the agenda. The greatest secret never told is to get you off this land. They want you to get off this land, and they're going to hire their boule, secret society Shriners
Mm.
to try to convince you that you are from a place you are not, to try to get you to clear the land on your own will.
Mhm.
Come on, brother. Come on, brother.
Yeah, they
Why?
don't
Why
want you to get that land, those land
they
patents and
can't?
all that.
What do you think they can't? Why do you think they cannot deport African Americans? They
Yeah.
cannot deport African Americans.
Come on, brother.
They can't, because the secret that they've been holding on to, that they've been taking oaths for, is that these people are the Native Americans. So somebody messaged me in a post and they said, well, who are the people on reservations? I said, those are white people who
Literally.
have usurped. Those are white people
Yeah,
who
invaded.
have usurped, who have white/Mongolians who have usurped the identity through the
Caucasians.
Dawes Commission. So for people that don't understand the Dawes Commission, and you're trying to figure out who these people on reservations are,
The
this is
$5
what happened.
Indians.
Right.
You went to the Dawes Commission and you paid them $5. And you know how people get welfare today? Back then, if you wanted land or benefits, you paid the Dawes Commission $5. You sneak the money under the table. They put you on the list as a Native American. It was that simple.
Mm.
So white people lined up, paid the dove. That's what the term $5 Indian came from.
Wow, bro. Man,
Let me ask you a
man.
common sense question, right? If you are the Native American and this is your land, what the hell are you doing on a reservation?
Right.
Why would you agree to go to a reservation when the land is rightfully yours?
Come on, brother. Accepting defeat.
So they had to orchestrate it in such a way to rewrite history.
Mm.
Because by physically doing that, it convinces African American that these people really are the indigenous people.
Mm.
Okay? It's the same thing as they had to make up the entire dinosaur history. Dinosaurs ain't never exist on this planet.
Call them dragons.
But the problem is they could not find anything to fit the millions of empty years. You understand? There's millions of years accounted for that they're not trying to explain.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is you being here.
Mm.
So instead of saying that, oh my God, African American people or black people are this old, they're not going to give you credit for being this old.
Come on, brother.
Yeah.
Because they understood through our genetics that we have no birth record. They don't know where we started. They don't know where we begin. So all these
Facts.
millions of years, right? They already know we were here. But you know what they did? they replaced us with the dinosaurs
Yeah.
and said, no, the dinosaurs were here. And then some meteor came from the sky, knocked them out, and then we started.
Come on, yeah.
Mm.
Come on,
You
yeah.
understand?
Come on,
But I
Charles
know they
Darwin.
had great sized animal
Yes, they
only
had.
because they
Mm-hmm.
depleted the oxygen, so that would make everybody much smaller and all the living things much smaller, the vegetation smaller, everything. I don't know. We had people that were very tiny too. The people that are only a foot high and things like. I know that a lot of those fairy tales were true too. That they hid on this and this in these in America, Central
Mm-hmm.
America, and South America. So many varieties of people, of types of people that lived here, and yeah, and of course, then you'll have to go to the trees. I believe they were animals. They were just much larger, and they called them dinosaurs. But they know a lot of those dinosaurs were birds. A lot of those dinosaurs were, the same animals that we see now, but they're much smaller now because of the depletion of oxygen.
Mm.
But those
Man,
caves, a lot of those caves we're walking in bodies of great animals or even some people.
come on, yeah. Imagine, right? They can't handle the truth, you know. To your point of that, I don't know if y'all can see this one. You know, this is a King
Yeah.
Tut. I just recently was seeing something, they were saying they like to present it like he was just in Africa, but there's records to show
Mm.
that he may have been found in Kentucky. His tomb
I've
and
heard
his father and the
I've
Grand
heard them
Canyon.
say that he could be the real who David was
Mm.
that slew Goliath. I mean Goliath. Who slew Goliath? I just ate some
Nah,
Tostitos.
real talk, real talk. Hey, they were
They
giants in those days. Still today, we call them NBA players. You know what I'm talking about?
right. They were even taller than them.
And even
Because
taller
in
than them.
China, like even in China, they hide their giants. They hide the big, but they still have a lot of big
Mm-hmm.
people that are so very tall. Like over 9 feet tall. They just keep them hidden. They're very good at keeping things hidden like that.
They
Yeah.
like to reproduce with them.
People,
Straight up. Straight
I
up.
don't
Straight up.
know
Man,
because they can't. They have to take care. They have to keep them in separate places because they can't breathe this air.
mm,
The bigger they are, they need a more dense oxygen. Like this oxygen is too thin for them.
mm,
Because they're not made for this size of full of they cut down the big trees, they cut down everything, cause those floods, all of this stuff. They change the whole ecosystem.
They did.
mm.
They can't survive that.
They did. They did.
Uh,
They
to,
cut
to,
down
you-
all
to,
the female trees.
yeah,
Right.
that was the point exactly I was about to say. Talk to me more about that, man. Inform
Yeah,
the
they
people about
cut down.
how
If you
greedy these
notice,
people are, man.
if you notice that the female trees are the ones that get rid of the pollen. All the pollen are here because of the male trees.
Hmm.
So it was and you understand there's nothing that grows. Nothing
Fruits.
grows on the trees in America. If you look at the trees in America, nothing grows on them. Nothing grows on these trees when you walk outside. Walk outside your door. You don't see no apples, no oranges,
Mm,
because these are male trees.
Hmm.
They destroy all the female trees. Absolutely. They change the whole ecosystem, you
yeah,
know?
man. Mother Nature,
And
man. She feels it all, man. To the point of that, like that's even why we love to go to your point of the West Indians and the islands, right? Because we can just hit a mango tree, or a mango tree will or a coconut will naturally fall down, and we can just pick it up. It's like, why are we paying for water on the water planet? You know, where water is in abundance. So it's these little simple. It seems so simple, but if people didn't have to pay for water, do you understand what difference that would make to the way we have to live? Because right now people don't realize how vital water is, until these grocery stores shut down. I'm
But
telling you.
bro, they're lying. But they're lying.
hmm
We will
hmm
never run out of water.
Come
We
on.
will never run out of water. There are aqueducts in this country. We will never run out of water.
Come on, bro.
But they are pushing that agenda to starve the people. Yeah,
hmm
they are constantly lying.
Yes,
the
man.
dams. I couldn't believe when I saw like the amount of dams, thousands and thousands of dams. I didn't even know. I never even thought of it now, but when you think of it, that's what causes one area to go through drought or one area to end up with lots of fires. They do control the weather in that way too. Not only do they
Right.
see the clouds, but they also, when they control the water that way, then if what's going to evaporate, and things would start drying out and fires and everything has to stay volatile because that's what they profit off of, the
Yeah.
volatility.
It's all about
And
profit.
they time it.
And that's how simple this game is. We people would
Mhm.
ask why would they do all that for profit. When you're such a fragile race or a fragile group of people, you have to do a lot to create this fake superiority. And it's
Mm.
one thing the Most High has been is showing us or been educating us on is just more. Don't ever think that they're not suffering for what they've done to Mother Nature already. In addition to the great balls of fire to come. So it's deeper than what we know or what we can fully understand. It's really for us to recognize, to Brother Sire Supreme's point, the importance of getting out the way, because many of us are in the way, right? In the sense of we're ready to fight for the people doing the wrongs, as opposed to recognizing what game is really at play. It's important, like right now, what we're doing, like Neo in the Matrix, being able to utilize these tools to speak to our people, to speak testament to power, to speak truth to power. But it's a difference between when we become hopelessly inured in the system. We start to depend on it so much so for everything that all it takes is a solar flare. All it takes is
Right.
a coronal mass injection, a CME.
Mhm.
And or even a fake or a fake plug, because they themselves also plan to still
Right.
pull the plug on them for themselves as well. You know,
Yeah.
for us to truly see that nature and the Most High is always in control. You know, one thing I like to say too. Notice how they never can come out and just straight up be evil. You know, they can never just be straight up with their evil, right? They always gotta pretend, do it under the guise of being good. They always gotta be wolves in sheep's clothing. They never pop out at you straight up like wolves. You feel me? They never do that because they don't have the strength to. And you know who's truly runs this universe, who truly runs this world, this galaxy, this entire everything that we know to exist, the Most High. The Most High I knew, to be exact, right? And so
Right.
they're very keen on that, and so their game is always deception. Always always allowing us to sign over our contracts or give over our money. In the sense of thinking that we are helping ourselves. Or that they are the best ones to help us with the money, or they know how to do best with our money. Our money used to the point of black, but Oklahoma, Black Wall Street used to circulate. you know. But then we had people who didn't understand the importance of our money circulation, who have been frying their hair, crimping their hair, been straightening their hair for decades. Who prayed to just be a part of their system. That the moment
Mm.
that it became they got an opportunity, they ran at it, right? And we're
Mhm.
still struggling with that same game today. People who don't recognize, who really think that their ice is colder. They really think their ice water is colder than what they got in their own fridge. You know what I'm talking about?
Goodness.
And so the importance of us recognizing that, like, nah, like, let me get some ice trays together. You know what I'm talking
Our
about?
heroes are our enemies, man.
Say it
Yeah.
again.
Our heroes are our enemies.
Talk
Yeah.
to them about that. What you mean by that one?
People like Dr. King are our enemies. People
Mm.
like Marcus Garvey are our enemies, and the black people don't understand how
It
deep the
was
rabbit
amazing.
hole goes. They don't understand how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Mhm.
If your community was thriving, if your people had their own schools, if they had their own grocery stores, if they had their own soccer teams and basketball teams, why would you push for integration?
Come on, brother.
Why would you push a civil rights movement? Because it wasn't his dream. That dream belonged to Jacob and Evelyn Rothschild. And he was
Come
an
on, brother.
agent. He was an agent. But at the same time, he was a Mason too.
Yes,
Malcolm was a
sir.
Mason.
Alpha
Martin was
Phi
a
Alpha.
Mason. They all are Shriners. Okay, they are Masons. The people that you think are our heroes, the Obamas. Okay, Obama, who started 7 wars in the 8 years he was president, started
Mm,
7 wars. The people that you really think are our heroes are part of the black aristocrats.
mm.
They are pushing the agenda, and that's the part people don't want to accept.
Yes,
The,
sir.
the heroes are not the heroes,
Yes, sir.
but they
It's an
make them
inversion.
martyrs. They make them martyrs because they are Masonic. They're part of their Masonic order. You know.
Man, that's so deep, bro. That's so deep, bro. Talk to us about that inversion, man. Because to your point, that's something I'm seeing is like they they gotta hide. It's like they're not clear about their allegiance. Why is it that they're unable to be clear on which side they're playing? They always gotta play like they're on our side. If you don't mind us asking.
Why they have to play? Why they have to play like they're on our side?
Yes, sir.
You talking about the black aristocrat?
Yes, sir. The boulets, yup.
Well, well, they get the benefits of they reap the benefits of having the leverage. You understand? But it's always been like that. It's always been that way where they can gain they can they figure they figure that this this battle or this war cannot be won.
Mm,
They
Right.
they don't have it's an inevitable loss.
wow.
So if you can't beat them, you join them.
Mm,
You understand? And you live as a coward because at least you get to survive when everybody else is made slaves. It's the same concept of the plantation.
damn, bro.
You
That's
understand?
facts. That's facts, bro.
Somebody tell you let's run away, you hell no, run away where? Where we going? What are you trying to run for? You understand? But these
Yo,
are agents, and we do not put a microscope on them.
wow, bro.
When our people get leadership positions, that's why I say this rabbit hole is deep. When our people get leadership positions, we don't put a microscope on them. We don't put a microscope on um um the black revolutionary, the black activists. We don't put a microscope on these people. You understand? And we blindly follow them. None of the black organizations were founded by black people. None of them. The
That's so much
Rainbow
facts, bro.
Coalition, the Rainbow Coalition, the NAACP, none of them was founded by black people. None of them, not one of them. I
Mm.
remember when Black Lives Matter came out and the internet was tearing me apart, bruh. When I told the internet that it was a fake organization,
Come on, bro.
at the time when Breonna Taylor and all these people, Mike Brown got killed, and I told them the organization is fake. It is not founded by black people. People are going crazy over the internet. Then now my DM went crazy. My
Mm.
DM went crazy. People, oh my God, oh, it's George Soros. Is rent. I told you, it's called profit from pain, and they've been running this agenda forever. Wherever the small hats have a slogan. There's a small Jewish community. They call themselves the small hats. They have a slogan. Wherever black people are suffering is where we will profit.
Mm.
Mhm.
So when you they will orchestrate a George Floyd, a Michael Brown. They will
Yeah.
a Breonna Taylor will happen. Let's just say a Breonna Taylor happened or Michael Brown happened. The black kids die at the hand of the police. That is a time for them to profit.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mm.
I'll give you an example. People say, well, how are they profiting? Okay, while you was throwing rocks in the windows and protesting in the street, they raised $48 million for George Floyd.
Mm.
Mm.
Where's that money going?
Mm.
They raised $48 million in the name
Gross.
of the suffering of George Floyd.
Mhm.
Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
They from the out through the back door, they ciphered money out of the black community because they played on their emotions.
Mm.
They did the same thing with Sandra Bland. People went online. I'm doing a GoFundMe for Sandra Bland. Do you know anybody in her family? No, but I'm doing a GoFundMe for her.
Crazy.
But imagine I go online, bro, and I do a GoFundMe for you,
Crazy.
and I don't know nobody in your family. I ain't never talked to your wife. I ain't never talked to your kids, but I'm running a GoFundMe in your name, and then I raise $50 million. Do you understand the hustle?
Crazy. And sharing none of that, John.
Bro, I'm raising the money, but let's keep
And
in
who
mind,
owns the GoFundMe site?
right, who owns the GoFundMe? I'm raising the money while the black community is burning down the city.
Crazy.
Do you understand the hustle?
Crazy, bro.
It always works.
To your point of that, take it further. Every time that they protest in their cities, they got to stay somewhere. So they staying in these hotels. And after they done protesting, they got to eat somewhere.
Bro, they put people on the bus. They send them into your town. And they start tearing shit up. That's what they do.
Central casting
Yes.
is watching.
Like you have like some of the everyday people in the mix, but the main people who are starting the controversy are put on buses and shipped to your town.
Crazy, bro. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
And then after all that's done, insurance money pay them all out.
Thanks.
Well, they already yes. You're already prepared for that. You're already prepared for that.
All the elections are like that. Like when I remember years ago, I went to a libertarian thing and I was like ready to like root for like Al Sharpton. He was debating one of the Fox News guys. I forgot his name. But what happened was I noticed a lot of people in the audience were the same people that I work with, like on film sets and stuff, like extras. Same people. They're the ones in the audience gonna be rooting for their guy or whatever. You know what I'm like?
Actors.
It's so fake.
Actors, all fake.
Straight
The
up
same
actors,
thing
yeah.
with the pain is those celebrity DEATHS. We don't know who's alive and who's not here anymore. We don't know that. Like when they set up a celebrity and they could blackmail, whatever they do to make them owe them a lot of money, whatever they do, like Kobe, right? They have Kobe merchandise stacked up in warehouses all over.
Oh yeah.
Waiting for that day.
go.
Waiting for that day.
Oh yeah, ready to go.
We don't he Sad Supreme made that point is like one of the hugest things that run this whole market. Because when they plan things, they plan it out 30 years. You know?
Yes.
His daughter's alive, whatever's gonna happen with this is when they talk about who is MKU, right? Whenever they talk about who is in that, all of the celebrities that we grew up admiring, even Michael Jackson, they went to these special camps, and I don't think they really did it on I don't think the parents really did it on purpose, send their kids to these things. Only like Kamala Harris, her mother would know because her mother was one of the doctors, one of the people that work for the doctors, right? But the parents who sent their kids to these summer camps and to these special schools like Montessori and stuff, they don't know that they're being put into these programs, that they're being programmed in this way. And they become these, what they call sleeper cells. They become, press a button and then that person goes wild. Press a button, that person goes wild. They control us to that level.
Wow.
And people are just like, if you don't worry about stuff that you can't control, and that's insane. I have 6 sons. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna try to make sure that they have longevity. I have a daughter. I have grandchildren. I'm not gonna play around with my children's life, and y'all gonna call me crazy, whatever you want to do.
Talk that talk, sister.
And I don't care. But if I see, it's weird, and I'm not always right. I refuse to I didn't want to, oh Lord, I make mistakes. Trust me, I make mistakes. But when I realize I make a mistake, I totally work on finding truth and trying to go another way. But they have us ping ponging. There's no two parties. There's one government. You know,
Come on. Same birds. Same bird with different
kiss the
wings.
same wall. Yeah, kiss the same wall. Kiss the same fingers, feet.
Come on, yeah.
You know,
Come
kiss
on,
our
man.
feet. They kiss the same feet. They kiss the same finger. They're so disgusting. And
It's
we,
so real.
it's like we don't have to accept. We don't have right now. While the U.S. government has expired, we don't have to. We can
Corporation.
organize. But just saying that word makes me, they call me a terrorist. They say they got people looking at our sites. We can't talk. We can't be free in our. We can't talk. We can't criticize. They own everything.
We talk anyway. That's why we here, man. That's why we created the Nubian Truth Room to free our people. No, that's truth. Like, no,
Thank
don't
you.
ever worry about that, man. It's all a mind game. You
That's
talk
true.
anyway. You know what I mean? You speak the truth
Hmm.
anyway because this mortal body, this thing that we're the self that we're always trying to protect. It's not really as important as we make it in our own minds. What's more important is liberating. The sons, the warriors that you just mentioned. The legacy that's going to be here. It's very important that we have that collective hive mind, and really do
Right.
unto others as we want others to do unto us. You feel me?
I like what
Really,
Saya Supreme said too about fear, because you have to face everything that makes you feel afraid. You have to look at it and study it and understand what makes you afraid of it. Like somebody tells you don't like that person, then you better go. I'm not saying walk up to a person that's crazy, but sometimes you need to meet that person. Look into that person, research that person to understand what about that person you shouldn't, because sometimes it's that person that's standing right in front of your land. you know,
yeah,
they made the churches. They build the churches over energy centers. They weren't always churches with a
come on,
cross on it. We know that those are cathodes. We know that these are energy centers, right?
lay line.
And ley lines. Understand we are so powerful. And I sometimes when I'll say something and then I see it manifest and sometimes it happens so quickly, I'm like, whoa, I gotta really start paying attention to the things that I'm saying. So I do talk too fast sometimes.
No,
And
you're
then I
doing
get in
great,
trouble
sister.
for that. 'Cause That's what I don't mean tonight. Tonight I think I'm doing good. But
You're doing great.
sometimes, yeah, my mouth.
No, you're doing great.
But the electric, the ley lines, the buildings, the stones. And now I'm pointing to those stones all the time. You see the living stones, on our monuments and on our buildings and stuff. And that's what I was mentioning about us being heir to the architecture. They can't. They tried to destroy a lot of the architecture, but they couldn't get rid of everything. And the biggest ones they turned into institutional buildings, hospitals, schools, uh, churches, even the movie theater. I realized they have some a long time ago. These theaters were called ISIS theaters.
Mm,
The movie theaters are on also what do you say, ley lines and energy centers, and it's where they would collect that loosh. They I think they
Rouge.
miss they
Talk that
kind of
talk,
they
yeah.
kind of caricaturize it in a way, but
Mm,
it is where that's where Hollywood comes from. That's why the CIA, that's why they run it like that, because
mm,
it builds up this energy, um this force, this cod. They know how to collect it.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like there's things we give away for free and we don't realize our worth. We are the currency, because anything we say has value. It has value. If we say that's not the style we like, that's out, that's out, and they're on to another thing. So they
Yeah.
try to manipulate us to like certain things. You remember when before Kanye came out and they were just dressing people up looking like slaves on the runway and saying that's the style.
Facts.
Because and it happened because they had the Watson, those programs that tell them what the trends are. So the trend at that time, we were all talking about that. We were talking about the Slav porn. We were talking about that. So that's why fashion reflected that, because AI told them that in numbers, in lots of numbers, we're talking about that topic. So that became a fashion statement.
Man,
So we're empowering, we're the ones empowering everything.
No.
man, listen. Y'all talking that truth. Y'all talking that, man. Drop y'all truths in the comments. Drop y'all truths in the chats, man. This is your opportunity. You know, we want to read some comments. We want to read some more truths that y'all got going. You know, our co-hosts here, they've been dropping knowledge upon wisdom. Man, make sure that y'all are picking these gems up. Make sure that you are speaking truth, testament to power in your real life, not just on your TikTok life. You know what I'm talking about? Make sure that you are realizing who you truly are, you know, because it's important, man, that we as a people are really getting into that high mindset, you know, because times are going to be changing real fast, you know. Things that used to matter ain't going to matter so much, you know. You know, we're going to have to, a lot of forced unity, you know what I'm talking about? Things got to get bad before it gets better, you know what I'm talking about? And so as things are getting what they quote unquote grateful or dreadful for some, it's going to be grateful for others. So make sure you're on the right side of the record. And the way to do that is to make sure that you're talking that truth on this record, you know, whether it's the record on TikTok, the record on Instagram, the record of even your family. Correct those wrongs, you know. Be unafraid to address those past things because you know families are great at pushing under the truth or not addressing those conversations that need to be had. So make sure that you all are challenging your families. You know, make sure that you're challenging yourself first. You know, because you can't challenge anybody if you haven't really done that inner work, that shadow work, and really know who you are, where you are in life. You know, and so sister, we've been cooking. We've been cooking. You know, I want you to leave the people with us notes, or you know, talk to the people about just your truth in general, what you want to lead the people on in terms of just you know, love and truth, because that's definitely what you spoke with. When we go live next time, I'll make sure that I bring you on. So definitely, I'll make sure that I'm gonna hit you up for some details, you know, and I love how you speak it. And so for the next one, make sure that you're on with us. All right.
Okay, I'll look out. I definitely will. It's your vibe that is helping me to be centered because I can be out there, but you're helping me to
Now
center and focus.
you
I
did
really
amazing, girl. You
appreciate
did
you.
amazing. You did
I
amazing.
appreciate you,
Now no cat,
and it's
no cat for
really
real.
is from a, it really is from love. I really am a mom. Thank you. Ashe. I'm a mom. I'm a mom. I'm a sacred woman. I study with Queen Afua. I love Queen Afua.
She's
Um,
amazing.
because of people who I'm into. I like the holistic lifestyle. Right now, I'm trying to find that back again, trying to get that balance back again. I'll do some fasting here and there, but it's really out of love. And I'm what I'm planning to do is just try to write some more free writing, so I'll put some poetry up. And it might sound out there, but it's really out of love. And like Sai Supreme said, getting rid of labels that have been oppressing us for too long. We got to get rid of the crayon labels and get to what the truth is. It's a simple truth, and it shouldn't be feared. And I think that it's crazy because a lot of um white light skin, white tea, whatever, they want to hear the truth too.
They
They want
do.
to teach their children the truth. They
You
don't
a
want
lot
to
too,
like
sir.
lie to their children. And some are just like that's also committed to that other those fraternities and stuff, and they're afraid of the truth, and they don't want to be they don't want to receive the punishment that they think is coming for them because they're so indoctrinated. But we have the power to make rules and laws, and we are the currency, and we have to understand our worth, and that not to be afraid anymore. It's not the time to be afraid. That's how I feel. And I really thank you for letting me talk and coming on, and I appreciate both of you.
Amen, sister. I appreciate you for joining. You know, coming with that truthfulness, that authenticity, you know, that vulnerability. You know, speaking your mind. I could tell you just speaking for your mind. You know, and that soul, that speaking from that soul more specifically. That's what we need. You know, I definitely don't hear that this would have been something that you may have felt like in the past you may not have done so well. Now you spoke excellently. You spoke very
Thank
clearly.
you. Thank
No, for
you.
real, you spoke very on point. And in truth, that's really why I called it the Nubian Truth Room, man. Because it's no
Mm,
accident things are happening to our brothers in Sudan. It's no accident in this moment.
mm.
It's powering the phones that we're talking on right now. You know, so much of
Wow.
much of
Yes.
much of what we do, much of what we are comes from our people, across the globe, and more specifically,
Right.
the people here in Americas, are much more powerful than they know. Much of the
Right.
world, the culture of the world copies us. Nubian Americans more specifically. We used to
Huh.
say American Africans, not even African Americans, right?
Mhm,
It's more technically correct to say
mhm,
American Africans than African Americans.
mhm,
The truth, because as
mhm,
I'm
mhm,
discovering it, most of the Native Americans, the indigenous, came from right here. And we're,
mhm,
and to our
mhm.
point, reclassified. So it's important that we start to reclaim that, and
It's
not,
connected. It's still connected.
because
They
to the
don't
point of
show
that,
us the maps. We know it's still connected.
yeah, man.
We just learned that Jamaica is not an island. It's a top of a tree. You know what I'm saying? We have to. We really, when I look at the
Wow,
the go the
top of the
Google
tree. I
Earth,
can
when
see
I
that.
look
Yeah.
at the map on the Google Earth, it kills me because when I was in
Wow.
kindergarten, when I was in elementary school, we used to do paper mache projects. And I look at the Google Earth, I'm like, this is really paper mache. They kill me. They kill me. Like, look at the Google Earth. Like when you're looking in the water and you could see it's like paper
The
mache. It's paper
Leviathan,
mache. Like,
man.
why? But the thing is, okay, so it's a model, and maybe this is somewhat near what things really look like. But we have no idea. We have no idea. It's stuff it's not disconnected, it's just flooded. The water
Mm,
is covering a lot of stuff that and they know that too.
wow.
Um it's sick the size of this world.
Mm,
And now that I feel like they're gonna be taking down some dams and changing the whole landscape, um, and they have that. Like if you look on water maps, future water maps, you'll see what they plan for within the next 30 years. They want it to look like this, right? And it's gonna show lots of water down, what places watered out, right? And Africa is definitely gonna be the place mostly out of the water
mm,
still. And I mean, a lot of people don't know that we're down and Africa is up.
mm,
So if it's
mm,
like a big tree, like Africa is up. My son
mm.
is here. My son,
Yeah.
I'm
No, that's
live. See,
no, that's so
yeah,
deep.
Nah. Oh,
That's
my
so
bad.
deep. That's
How's it
so deep.
going, bro?
that's my son talking,
What's
Ricky.
going on, Warrior?
How's it going? Nice to meet you, King.
You too, brother, man.
Ah,
Make sure you learning from your mama, man. She been dropping gems upon gems. Make sure you picking
man,
that
she
up, King.
told me everything I know from us, baby.
Amen, bro. Nah,
he
no,
Facts.
no, no cap, man. Make sure you protect it too, man. Especially not only with the mind, more specifically, but with the lady that you choose. Make sure you choose a
Yes.
lady that mirrors her and that mirrors that wisdom that she just dropped, brother.
No, I appreciate that.
he's the one that teaches me a little bit about the tree stuff
Ah,
too.
good.
He says some wild like
The
ah.
Giants, you believe in the Giants? Have to.
Oh yeah, nah. You just saying that too. Like I really just literally shared with wifey, that the tree stumps, like what they call mountains, are really just tree stumps. You know, so
Yeah.
that's just becoming too much of a commonality. I'm seeing that just too many examples of that, and it makes sense, man. It's just that our
It's
we can't wrap our
the
minds
other
around it.
thing too is like they say Everest was underwater, right? So if so, like the what they call it when it builds the rock on the like the wood or
The
something, the
petrified,
sediment,
okay, the sediment,
yeah, it starts to build up,
petrification.
and that's what creates the rocks.
Mm,
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Of
So
Everest.
that's why I believe some of the mountains were, old trees.
Definitely. Like you'll see
mm.
if you ever go up Bear Mountain. Where are you? We're in New York. Are you in New York?
Houston, Texas.
Okay, so
Texas.
but if we
Yeah.
going up like the mountains, you can see like the tree cells, the octagonal cells, the long, it's
The
like if it was
richest.
standing up, it would be going vertically, but you see it going horizontally because they're lying down, the trees, the
Mm,
huge trees. So we're driving around until you say Bear Mountain. It's not the tallest in the world, but we're driving around to get to the top, like of Bear Mountain,
mm,
and it's just a big huge tree that's cut, the roads are cut out of, just like if you're in Jamaica and you're going over it's a big tree, it's like a big part of a tree. And
mm,
it's like when you see those temples that they dug out and they go, oh, it's made of, they dug it out of stone, they lie so much. When the thing was dug, it was still a tree. It wasn't as hard as it is today because it went through petrification, and the people who
mm,
did it knew. It's like this. The insane thing is that the people knew that with the flood, it's gonna harden this tree and make it. They knew that it would petrify. They
mm.
knew that it would harden into a stone that way. Like limestone. Limestone. That's under Jamaica. That's
So
what they,
that's
they
what they made
call
the
it. Like
pyramids
they
out of.
call it like they call it like Leviathan, the limestone. And they say
Yeah.
if it's tickled, it will awaken it's gonna awaken the Leviathan, because they believe
Okay.
that that limestone. Okay, they believe that the Leviathan is a sleeping titan, but
Uh,
it's like a serpent,
this is
right? The
facts.
great
It's a
serpent.
fact.
So the Leviathan. So I looked up, biological, when something gets hardened or petrified, if limestone, it could that be part of a body, and it could be biological matter that's petrified into that.
Mm,
All of the stones we see, it's all from different bodies. Crystals, the rubies, that's blood. That's
yeah.
petrified blood.
It's truth.
You
Yeah.
know,
Truth. Yeah.
so it's muscle tissue. It's from that. It's from muscle tissue and the things that we know are right on our body. That's what we get our gems from. Different. Oh my goodness, we are so. It's really time to like wake up and stop depending on our
Uh,
oppressors to educate us, because they're not going to. They're not going to tell us. And it's like we have to understand we are connected to this earth. We're made of this earth.
man. I say.
The only thing that I could see is true, it has to do with the soil and the dirt. Um, in the Bible, they say something like the Levites they will give the Japheth, the children of Japheth, I think they're given the sand to rule,
Mm,
and the Hamites, and they get the different areas of the world. They'll say what they were given to rule, and the Levites were given the sand. But when you think about the Levites given the sand, then the timing is off about the Bible
mm.
with the flood, compared to the flood, because
Amen.
I don't mean to run into another topic. Were you finishing? Are you trying to finish?
No, 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 no. You're cooking. You're cooking. You cook. Keep the
Because
cook
with
going.
the flood, Africa, the sand comes from being at the bottom of the ocean, the Sahara Desert. That's because it was flood. It was water was way above. If that is sand from the bottom of the ocean, could you imagine how high the water was? You
Mm,
understand? And that was long before the Bible. The Bible was written as if that was the beginning of the world. We know now that that wasn't the beginning of the world, because the sand shows you that the water was way higher, long before the Bible was written.
facts.
If he says they get the sand, then then the sand was there already. So that shows the Bible was more modern,
That's a
you
fact. That's a
know.
fact. That's a fact. No, that's a fact. That's a
And
fact. It's
and
like
they tested the sand, and they saw African sand matches the eastern coastline of America sand. You know
yeah.
what we
Truth.
saying?
No, no. To your point, truth is stranger than fiction. Straight up.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
and even when you were speaking about the trees in particular, that made me think about Jack and the Beanstalk. You know,
Ah,
like And think about those type stories where he had to climb up on a tall tree to a giant at
Mhm.
that. You know, these stories that were given as youth, they not so
You,
much stories no more.
you know,
These are
Damian Michael. Damian Michael had a beautiful post about Jack and the Beanstalk. Let's see if he's on here.
wow. Send
Damian
me that. Send me
Michaels.
that.
Damian Michaels. Yeah, I'm trying to see if he had a beautiful post. I'll try to send that to you. He had a I may look for it now. He had a beautiful post about that same thing that you're saying. And that had to do with Gog and Magog.
What they know about
That's the
it?
story of Gog and Magog.
Come on, man.
And it's not so far fetched to imagine. Like they like to say things up in the clouds, and we're thinking like, oh, it's way up there. But to giants, it's right. It's that's where we're walking. Like if you just even in right now, they still have some places where you can walk across trees. Like if you can, certain places, certain forests, you can. They climb to the tree. They climb up the trees and they walk across like the bridges. They create bridges with the branches.
Yeah,
They know how to walk across the trees, and these trees aren't as big as the ones in those. Before the last couple of resets, because I think we went through a couple of resets before these big trees were taken
facts.
down. Right? But they walked across with these trees. These you when you're going up that mountain, you see how small we are to that mountain, and you imagine if that tree had branches, you know we probably could get to the next city just on the branch, of that tree. That's the scale of the difference. That's the difference that we're dealing with. The dichotomy, I guess, the difference that we're dealing with, and why it's hard to to think or to believe that it actually could happen. But once you, like you said, once you see it,
Can't
you
unsee it.
can't, like, yeah, you can't. It starts to become more and more clear.
Yeah, you
It
start
starts to
you
become
start
more and
connecting
more
the
clear.
connecting or connecting the dots. We like to say. No,
Yes.
it's facts. One thing our master teacher, I'm gonna send you the master teacher's information too. Master teacher Malachi York, man, he definitely put us on game with a lot of this truth, man. Where we're talking
I
about,
remember. I remember he did. I remember.
well, yeah,
Sadly,
yeah,
that story.
yeah, he put us on game with a lot of the truths that now, before people used to make fun or at least think that it was fiction. Whether they
Hmm.
talking about confirming underwater UFOs or whether they
Right.
confirming about us as people being able to have psychic abilities or being able to speak the truth to people. It's this has been a universal game that they've been playing, but it's that time. It's that ether time, that time of tapping into the mind and being clear with your gifts. And the way we do that is by being truthful. We're not gonna get to our vulnerability or to our honest state, through lies, through deception.
Hmm.
There's no need for that because to the point,
Right.
truth is far stranger than fiction. And so
Hmm.
it's actually easier to wrap your mind around these fictions that they've created for ourselves than the truth of our
Yeah.
world. So it's important that we start to unravel that. It's like the red pill, blue pill moment. We can either pretend these conversations never happened, or we can truly start to unlock that box, and truly tap into what we know is the truth. And so make sure that y'all are tapping into this truth. Make sure that you are unapologetic about your truth. Make sure that you are profident in the way that you speak testament to power, because it's dependent on you. Your family's dependent on you to learn more. Somebody in this world, in this walk, is waiting on you to unlock that truth about you. There's something that you haven't shared. So I want y'all to, with the remaining time that we have, make sure that y'all write that you write the truth that you learn from this live, that you learn from this strong, because again, we don't do nothing weak around here. Make sure that you're using the truth as your guide and compass. Because again, just that it's that intuition, it's that feeling, that gut feeling. Every religion, there's a lot of different religions out here, and all of them have a commonality where they're asking you to be honest, they're asking you to be truthful, they're asking you to be able to be very aware of the one most high. So make sure that you do that in this moment in time, right? Make sure that you are unafraid to do that in this time. It's very critical that we have more truth tellers. It's more critical that we have more people who are standing on the real realities of this world, because again, our truth is stranger than our fiction. You know, it's very easy to run lies. It's very easy to run deception, because that's something that the human mind has been shown to able to handle. But be able to handle the truth of your world, what really exists in your world, is the next level of your ascension. You know, so I want y'all to continually ascend in this world. I want y'all to continually be more powerful and have more conviction in the way that you speak your truth, right? You got to be able to be representative. You got to represent for the Most High. You got to be able to be one of those sons of the Most High, right? You got to be able to be a son of that green light. You got to be able to talk that truth to that power, because that's the only way to do it, right? Because truth and love go hand in hand. You know, you can't. Someone that loves you is not gonna lie to you. You see what I'm saying? Someone that loves you is not gonna lie to you. So in order for you to truly love yourself, in order to truly be honest with yourself, you got to make sure that you share that truth to yourself. You got to make sure that you are pure with that truth to take yourself to the next level. So don't accept these lies that you tell yourself more specifically, because it's very easy to discern the lies people tell us, but it's very hard at times to tell the lies to discern the lies we tell ourselves. You know, so be very clear on that. No longer lie to yourself. Be unapologetic who you are. You know, and before we close out, sister, talk to the people. Talk to the people. Let them know where they can find you. Let them know some of the projects you're working on, and leave them on some truth, sister.
I say, you're very gifted with your eloquence and articulation.
I ain't
It's
pay you
really
to say
spot
that,
on,
girl. I
right?
ain't pay you to say that, girl. Stop playing,
Your
girl. Stop playing.
your articulation and eloquence. It's spot on. You nail it. Right. I did this great workshop this weekend called Momentum Education. Hashtag Momentum Education. They were fantastic. It was it's like a lot of health practitioners, city workers, people that not always happy, not very happy with their jobs, or they're great with their jobs. They just want to level up a bit at work. They want to work on, probably do some shadow work and get through some humps, get over some humps that they're dealing with and facing in their life, or they might be in a rut. So this momentum education is kind of this motivational group, and I loved it. It was so fantastic. It was like a boot camp, like 10 hours each day on the weekend, and on the 2 days out of the two, Thursday and Friday, it was just a couple of evening hours, but we're working with groups of, in pairs and in groups, and doing these exercises together that really brings out things that are deep inside sometimes that you don't really recognize in yourself, and it's helping you to get out of the box, right, and create create the things that you want to manifest, and they want you to manifest, and start like 90-day goals, and work on goals, and make sure create your timeline so that you can complete these goals. You know about the SMART goal thing. They talked about that,
Yeah.
where you can manifest the goals that you're interested in and make it tangible. So we learned about that, and so I'd like to write a book. I'm writing a book. Let me get it right. I'm
Talk that
writing a
talk.
book.
Talk that talk.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be finished
Talk
by
that
next
talk.
March. That's my date. It'll be finished. I'm hoping to take a trip at that time I was invited to Anguilla. Hopefully I get to take a trip, and there's a moon splash there, a reggae festival. I'd love to go there. That's like a goal. But you can find me here. I think on TikTok I'm 6'3", 6_3, SIXX_3, and I'm Angie. You are Dyer Monroe. That's long on Facebook, but you can find me on Instagram, Urban Roundtable on Instagram. Urban Roundtable is a company that I started to help the people through transitions, whether it's dealing with big changes in the family. I started it during the pandemic, so it's dealing with grief and changing from one situation to the next, home to school, school to work, et cetera, et cetera. And I started working with people that were inside in prison, and I helped a friend that I grew up with, and he was in prison for 30 years, and Trump commutated his sentence. And since he's done that, I've been helping him to use social media and help. I became his director of media for his LLC that he started. So
It's cool.
my goal was really to get him back to where he left off when he was a young man, like around 20, 21, when he was railroaded into the system. And I did that. I feel like I accomplished that goal. So
It's amazing.
his name is Gringo Man. Like, he started reggaeton, and now he's reclaiming his place in the genre and educating people about the amount of money that it actually brought into the cities, into the different countries, and why it should be. I guess he's trying to memorialize it in Brooklyn because it started in East Flatbush, but that's his project. I help because I am helping him with his reentry into society. I helped somebody named Aaron Taylor. He's in Los Angeles, in California, and we rarely get to speak. But he's one of the people that I help when it's time. When I get called, and we can speak a little bit. So he also became a sports announcer outside when he got out of prison, and so that's what I'd like to do. Continue that. I do prison advocacy. I go to Albany with a group called Community Not Cages,
Powerful
and we
system.
talk about bills, about the Second Look Act, about extraneous sentencing, stopping extraneous sentencing. They have something called the Marvin Mayfield Act, and that's dealing with plea bargains, and we're trying to stop that type of exploitation when somebody has to plead guilty for a lesser crime and they end up doing time, and sometimes losing their life and inside because it took because they actually pled guilty. So we're doing things. That's my interest, and being that we are currency, and being that we are right now it counted as ones, as products and stock, we have to put a stop to that. We have to change our status in that sense, and start being able to create trade agreements with other countries. You know what I'm saying?
Amen.
When they
Amen.
say no man is an island, yeah, we could be an island. So we are islands. If we could be a beast, we can be an island too. We're trees. We could be trees. So hey,
Come
a
on.
man can be an island. It's important that we own where we live, and it's like, I'm sorry, I'm going into another one. I'm thinking
You
about
cooking. You
houses.
cooking. You
I'm
talking
thinking
that
about
talk.
your land. I'm thinking about land and your houses, and a lot of people, this little things that we can do, which will give us more ownership while we're on the path of correcting our status. You have family and you have a home. If you have a home with a backyard and a front yard, and you can bury, if you lost a pet, you could bury them on your land. And right there, that space is protected. They can't build on that space. Do you understand?
That's
That
big.
becomes, what do they call it? The land when the hollowed
Historical
out. Yeah, it becomes when
landmark.
you dig it up, when you make it like a cemetery type, a family cemetery, but you're not supposed to you're not supposed to build on that. That's protected. So once you register it as that's a burial ground, it can't be touched. Or growing at home, growing food and registering that as farmland. You know what I mean? Whether it's inside your house or outside your house. We have to begin to understand the law to that degree. We have to begin to understand the law to that degree, and understand that it's only our ignorance that is keeping us from having any kind of power amongst ourselves. And we want to replace the fear We want to replace the ignorance with the law, the knowledge of law, the knowledge of the Constitution, knowledge of our natural rights. Yeah, and that's it. We gotta start living. Really living, not just being zombies, drugged up zombies. We gotta get out of that.
Man, sister, there's no accidents in this balanced universe. What you just described is the work me and wifey do.
Yeah.
Through our law firm, we work with nonprofits like yours. So offline, I'm definitely going to send you our booking link because we want to work with
Okay.
your organization on that specifically.
I'm not a
Like
nonprofit, but I volunteer a whole lot. So
Oh yeah,
yes.
yeah, and whether you do it as a business or either want to convert it or provert it into a nonprofit, that would
Hmm.
even open up way more doors for funding. So
Okay.
that could even
Yeah.
be how, because you can still keep the business side of it and still
Yeah.
and just even create a nonprofit in addition. However you want to structure it, we can talk to you about those different ways to structure it. But what you just
Yeah.
described is very, very powerful. You know what I mean? Being able to work with the population that other people have forgotten. That's not only the work itself, but it's definitely
Mhm.
the work that is needed out here because
Mhm.
everybody, no one sees how important that is until they find themselves in unlawful confinement or in confinement that they didn't want themselves to be in.
Right.
So it's very important that we do unto others. So that's definitely one takeaway on that one. To your point of even smart goals, being
Mhm.
specific, being measurable, being attainable, being realistic, being timely. We
Mhm.
want to definitely also help you with that other goal that you mentioned as it relates to doing the book. The word that
Uh-huh.
the word, because that's also what we work with too. We write books. Wifey actually about to drop a book. Called,
Fantastic.
yeah, yeah, she about to share. She wrote a book called The Wifey Reset. And she's actually
Okay.
looking
I
for
think I heard about something like that. Maybe it's
yeah,
because I saw your page before. I think it's because I saw your
good, good,
profile
good,
before.
good. Now it's gonna be one of them big ones too. So I'm gonna send you
Mhm.
that information too. Because either whether it is as a reader, you know what I mean, even
Mhm.
just looking for more feminine responses on it to kind of get that divine feminine touch. We definitely would love for
Yeah.
your experience on that. But more specifically,
Okay.
well, we want to help you write your book because or at least put together your book because the word that I got is the
Mhm.
importance of 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 working because basically today's the only day we have, right? And because that's the
Mhm.
truth, because
Mhm.
we're never gonna meet a tomorrow, if that makes sense, right?
Mhm.
We always
Mhm.
prepare for the tomorrow, and we should always prepare for the next. But we never meet a tomorrow. So what I've learned in
Yeah.
our work is that work things that you expect to take 3 decades, you should attempt to do in 3 years. Things that you think is going to take 3 years, you should attempt to do in 3 months. Right? Things that you expect to
Mhm.
do in 3 months, you should work to do it in 3 days. 3 days, try to get it done in 3 hours. 3 hours,
Okay.
try to get it done. In 3 minutes. You see,
Yeah. I
that's so
like that.
critical.
There's a thing they have that law of threes too. So that's in the law they have the law of threes.
Amen. And it's just listening to you saying in March. So that's my challenge to you, sister. I know you said March, but try to
Mm-hmm.
get it done in the next 3 days.
Woo,
Um,
that'd be cool. Okay, I'm gonna start free writing.
you can do it. You can do it. And even if you
I
don't
could.
do it, you'll be much further than you were if you hadn't. Is how to look at that. You feel me? So so
I do. That's good. That's good. I will.
and really the wiser thing to do is let's try to get this book at least ready for the new year. You know,
Good
if we can
idea.
have this book written, so that gives you more than 3 days to be honest. But if you can have this
Yeah,
book
like three
written to
weeks,
start the year,
2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 weeks. We'll say, is that three? That's no, I can't count.
that is it's
two
about
weeks.
that 2 to 3.
Okay.
But it doesn't have to be the start of January 1st. But if you want
Okay.
to,
Okay.
that would be a great New Year's gift to
3 weeks.
yourself. You know.
All right.
And
Yes.
if we're talking about the marketing of things too, that'll definitely be a great sell in and of itself. Everybody comes out with their new year, new me resolutions anyway. So you definitely may even be able to write something that would transform somebody's life to start the year. You know, because people are always in that flip, because that's just how we
All
think about
right.
things. But yeah,
I'm definitely gonna start working on that even more diligently. And it's that's I take that. That's affirmation. I receive that, and I look forward to speaking to you. Calling her wifey like that. What's her name?
yeah. Wifey Kai,
Waki Kaira.
Yes, yes, Kayera.
Waki, nice. Kaira. Nice to meet you both. This is the first time we ever got to speak, and I'm honored to even be here in this center. You're doing a great job. Yeah, this is good.
You're too
Thank
simple.
you. Thank you
You're
for
too simple.
providing that for me. I'm
Yeah, yeah. We did amazing. This was our first episode of Nubian Truth Room. Sister Angie came through, made it amazing. Make sure that y'all take yourselves to the next level. Make sure that y'all share y'all truths. Make sure that y'all talk with that army of one. You know, again, everybody has that truth that they haven't shared. Make sure that you share your truth because it's needed in this world. You know, the truth tellers always win in the end, and truths always outlast any lie. Let me repeat that: truths always outlast any lie. So don't let these liars lie. Don't let these colonizers colonize. Don't let the truth be forgotten, because I'm telling you, the Most High is continually speaking to us to make sure that we are taking our truth to the next level. So you have to do your job. We have to do our duty. We are each beehives in this hive. We must have our hive mindset. We must take care of our queen bees. We must take care of our divine feminines more specifically. That is the key. You know, us as men standing up as warriors, taking care of our families, finishing those families that we started, you know what I mean, with righteous legacy, leaving our children things that matter, you know, things that truly matter, right? Because it makes no sense sending our children off to somebody else's factory, right? When we can build something right here at home, and we can do that with the truth. Your children can sell the truth. They can sell real products that they create from their minds, you know? And we just have to give them the space to create, the space to live, the space to do the right thing. So continually do the right thing, right? And you will always be taken care of. Like our sister Angie here, we're gonna work with her on her book. So make sure that y'all get her book when that drops. Make sure that you support the truth. Make sure that you're also doing the right things, not only just for the brothers that you know, but the brothers that's forgotten, whether in the jail cells, in the mental hospitals, whether in across the globe. You know, our brothers in Sudan. You know, because that's why the Nubian truth, we're Nubian Americans. You know, whether we're talking about the Nubian Africans, we all came from Nubia, if we really want to be honest, right? And so we got to be, and we're the Nubian people. Nubian representing gold. We're the gold people. You know, this is our hue. This is our legacy. So let's get back on square. Let's get back on truth. Keep representing the truth. We appreciate you all for representing. Sister Angie, you got anything else you want to close out with?
No, you got it. That was beautiful. Thank you.
Hey,
I
man,
put the
y'all keep
title in.
keep doing it. Keep doing the Nubian Truth Room. On that note, we closing out.